Hey, thank you for coming, everyone, to Shaylin's panel discussion. I'm going to introduce my panel today. I have John Thompson, who is there online. John Thompson, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
And I have Janine Van Ness here on inside with me.
Hello.
So our topic today is on an ethical issue that I'm looking to see how ethical it might be. So I'm going to give you a brief description on the story behind the story. So I was helping a client with a scooter. He wanted to find out why it wasn't working properly. So he asked me if I had anybody I knew that could help him find out what's wrong with his scooter. So I had the right person in mind and I brought him along to check out the scooter. He wanted us to bring it home because he was moving and didn't really have the space for it while we were waiting for the parts that needed to be put into the scooter. So when we found out what was wrong with the scooter, we told him what was wrong and it needed a new motor. We gave him the price. We told him it had to be paid for before we ordered the motor. I made a mistake. I made the mistake. I ordered the scooter or the motor and didn't get the money because when I went to get the money, it didn't give me the amount he wanted. He gave me his purchase card, his bank card, to bring it to the bank machine and get the money out. And it didn't give us the amount that we needed to take. So I thought, okay, I know this guy. We've been together for about a year now. Almost a year anyways, I don't know. And so I thought, I'll just get the money later. This is where all the problems started afterwards. He wanted to know where the motor was, why it was taking so long, how come it's not here, phone this place, get where it's coming, is it coming, is it not coming, he wanted the number so he could phone. He didn't order the part. How is he going to get the information from them that he wants to know about? So I phoned in front of him, but it seemed to have surpassed the stress of his stress. For maybe a little while, but not long enough. It kept going and going, and finally I decided, okay, let's get this motor paid for because this is getting to be too much. So I asked him, I said, okay, you need to pay for this motor. I said, my son-in-law cannot afford to pay for this motor if you're not going to be paying for this motor. Nope, I'm not paying for a motor that I cannot see right here in front of me. Oh my God. Do you want a receipt? I said, because I can bring you a receipt. I'll find the receipt on the computer and bring you the receipt. And he said, nope, not going to pay for it. So I had my son-in-law talk to him and bring him the receipt. And he still said the same thing to my son-in-law, who was fixing the scooter for him. So words got said and we decided the motor was going back and we are not. And he couldn't understand the problem. I would like to ask you, John, what do you think of my ordeal?
I think you were trying to be a good, well, it was more than a friend. You're providing a service as a business owner. And as a business owner, you need certain things in place so things like that don't happen. I wouldn't say that you were taken to the cleaners, but certainly there was the opportunity for that to happen. So you needed some checks and balances. And there's a principle. If it's not in writing, doesn't exist. So you didn't have anything in writing that this character was going to pay for anything or follow through. So you put yourself in a great deal of jeopardy, and you were fortunate that nothing really happened other than some aggravation and some frustration.
What about you, Janine?
I think that the minute he wouldn't pay for the motor, you should have immediately said, no, then we're returning your scooter. You have to pay for the motor upfront. And then we're done. Also, I would have just said, okay, we'll get the motor in, because you're still in control. You've got possession of the scooter, you've got possession of the motor. You can now get that motor in, fix the scooter, bring it to him, and get your money before you actually hand it off. Or you said if you were gonna get stuck having to return it, you'd have to pay the shipping. But yeah, your two choices after the fact was to just return a scooter immediately, return the motor and say, we're done, here you go. Find someone else to fix it. And or, yeah, not have done it in the first place, simply because you're not really set up for that. And if you're gonna do things like that in future, have agreements drawn up ahead of time, and then have both people sign it with a witness so that everyone is happy and it's equal and fair.
Are there like forms you can find online to do this kind of writing up?
You should be able to find a legal site that can print forms off. I mean, and nowadays you can find pretty much anything online. And
Also, Lynn, if you have the complete package of Word, they have all kinds of legal documents and contracts and everything else that you should find something that would suit your purposes. And if not, you can always consult Dr. Google.
yep.
Okay, yeah, everything to look there for documents, because yeah, Word has some of these kind of things.
Mhm.
Yes, and then, so there should be a witness on these documents?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like-
a witness and maybe someone like, I'm trying to think of the legal term. You don't have to have a lawyer necessary, but someone who can sign.
So what is a notary?
Notary is an officer of the public that can sign things. They have to have a special, I don't think it's a license, but you have to do special paperwork to become a notary. And it's only specific people like doctors and lawyers and certain banking officials and that kind of thing. So it's legal and above board, and yeah, they're registered as a notary, they're known, you can look them up. You can find one near you, that kind of thing. But you wouldn't need a notary, you would just need
Notaries are registered by the province, and
Yeah.
actually anyone, if you want to pay the fee, can become a notary public, providing you swear and attest that you're of good standing and a proper character, and you don't go out carousing at night. No, I don't mean that.
probably have to have a police
I
report
think
and stuff.
Brenda, George has a notary. I think I've asked her about, not asked her, but it was brought up in conversation. So Brenda, George A.
But you wouldn't need a notary, you just need another witness that you agree and that the client agrees, so that it's a third party stating, yes, I watched them agree to this contract and I witnessed it. That's all you need, is someone saying, they both agreed to this contract and I witnessed them both agreeing to this contract.
And there will be three of us, because
Yeah.
there would be him, there would be the person fixing it, and me.
Or
And then-
someone else.
And then
yeah.
a notary.
You wouldn't need a notary. It costs money to get a notary, and there's no need for it in something like this. A notary is more, well, I mean, passports and, yeah. There's
If-
no.
Would I be going to jail then if
No,
something happened?
no.
I thought.
That's what the.
A notary isn't free,
No,
so there's a
and-
charge attached to it, but as long as you have a witness and you have a document that someone is signing, that all parties are signing to and attesting that they know what they're signing, then you're home free. Well, you're not home free, but it gives you a legal document to protect yourself.
Yeah. Real estate deeds, affidavits, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, bills of sale, other official transactional documents.
You have a form?
That was just a definition of the notary is.
Okay, so legally I should get a notary and a document signed for,
Just the document, wouldn't need a notary. No,
You don't need a notary unless what you're signing says that it must be signed or witnessed by a notary public. And a notary public also has a stamp that will go on the document. And with when their notary or their position expires, because it's not a lifetime appointment, they're usually good for 5 years.
okay. So what do you guys think about the fact, I know we had a discussion about this when we were first preparing for this, about him giving me his bank card, all this.
illegal. I worked at a credit union for 15 years. You never, ever, ever get anyone's debit card for any reason, not even your spouse. You're not supposed to know their PIN number, nothing. If you had gone into the teller in the branch and not just at the ATM, they never would have let you use the card. They would have asked you who it was. They would have kept the card. They would have cut the card up. They would have phoned him. They would have flipped right out. Like, you have to fill out reports. You have to report. Like, no, cannot happen. Ever, for any reason, ever. If he was on fire, you would not take his debit card for him, ever.
Well, he uses a scooter, he uses a walker, so you need help.
No,
But the thing is, I did go to a teller. She did not take the card. When the amount of money that he wanted did not come out, I phoned him and I told him it wasn't coming out. You can't take that much out. Well, I don't see how come. I
you have
should
to
have
do 2
2,000.
transactions.
I tried that. So I went to the teller and I asked her, I said, this is what he wants me to do. She didn't take the card.
No,
She didn't,
exactly.
we talked about the whole thing. I was on the phone with him at the same time and she still did not take the card.
No, she can't.
Another way of handling that, Lynn, if he has checks, is for him to give you a check, because that would get around the card and it would also access the money in the account, which, as Janine has indicated earlier, certain accounts are limited on how much money they can withdraw daily. So I think that was the case with this individual. He has a limited amount that he can withdraw from his account using ATM card. But a check, there is really no limit, providing the funds are there to support it.
I'll keep that in mind for next time, that's for sure.
Maybe
So-
next time you should talk to us first.
Actually, the client and I no longer, like, we say hi now, but after the discussion about him having to pay to get back his scooter, because he still had to pay back the restocking fee and the fee to take apart the scooter and put it back together, because he wanted it back now because, well, and plus we wanted to give it back because there's no way we're getting a motor for you if you're not going to pay for it. So he still had to pay a charge. And he said, no way, we're calling the cops. I'm calling the cops and the authorities will come and deal with it. I said, okay, that'd be great. Thank you. So we waited, he called back, and then he said he wanted to talk to Scott, the guy that was fixing the scooter. I said, well, he went home already. You said no. So he said, oh, okay, whatever. And so I waited, and then the next week, I called him up and I said, okay, what are you doing about the scooter? Like, are you taking it back, or are we still waiting for the authorities? Like, what's going on? No, just bring it back. I said, you still have to pay this charge. He said, yeah, just bring it back. Plus, take off a table I had to return for him. He decided he wasn't keeping it. And then, the rest is that. And so I gave him it back as key. He paid the charge. I paid him the other half of the money that from the table. And that was it. That we washed our hands. That's all that's done. And so I don't know what he's doing now for anything else, because I was doing his laundry, I was doing his shopping, I was doing his banking. I was doing it all, so I don't know what he's doing now, but we still say hi because he lives in the building now that I work in most. So, anything you want to say in closing, John?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty well covered everything. Just be more careful with your clients and get it in writing.
Yeah,
Protect really to protect yourself and your business. You just don't know what people are going to do or how they're going to do it. So it's a matter of keeping yourself safe.
Thank you. Janine?
Also, I did mention when we were talking, nowadays, seniors, they try to protect them additionally, so running a business for seniors, you have to be extra careful, because anyone, a friend, a neighbor, whoever could come forward and say, this woman is doing da 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 da. And it's your word against theirs, because he's been talking to everybody in his building, bad mouthing you, right? Telling them she did this, she did, whether he understands or not, it's still his viewpoint. They're gonna listen to him because he's the one they talk to more often. If somebody were to butt in thinking they're helping and protecting, you could get into a lot of trouble depending on who they talk to and what's going on. So cover your ass in every way possible, always.
Oh, and how do I cover my ass for that?
Well, like having the witness and the contract and then, and
So-
deciding the things that you are gonna do and not gonna do, because even just holding the scooter, they could have said you were holding the scooter ransom and charging him a storage fee. They could have said, hey, that's not fair, you were holding it ransom, he hasn't been able to get around for however long a time. I mean, and like I said, they could say, the motor was fine, you took the motor and put a broken one in. They could say, this isn't my scooter, you switched out the scooter. They could say you stole this, that, and the other off the scooter. Like, people can come up with almost anything. So if you, again, another idea is if you're going to take someone's property like that, take full pictures of everything so that you know what it looks like. And this is exactly there was a scratch here, there was a ding there was a whatever. This is what we're doing. Here's our witness. And then if you're going to do that. And another thing I had said, he said there was no one in town. Don't trust your client, especially an older client. They don't know the computer well enough. They don't necessarily, phone books aren't that good nowadays. You check whatever service they want. You check around town and nearby, and you make sure that what they've discovered is correct, complete. If you're gonna give a full service business and you wanna go above and beyond and have people talking good about you and sending people to you, try and do everything you can to go above and beyond and to protect your ass.
Okay, so if I'm just gonna go in and do cleaning, I don't. Just if I'm taking the property. Great, okay. Thank you, everyone. That is it for today. Now we're gonna go into question and answers. If anyone has any questions they would like to ask. I better check my full view now.
So, I'm sorry, can I just ask a question?
You bet.
Okay, so my question is for, so the lady who was sitting beside you said something. She said that someone could frame up a story and say da 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 da. So like how are you able to um how are you able to negate that? Like how are you able to stop that from happening in terms of like how can you just stop it like from happening? Because she also said something about the seniors having, I don't know whether she said more access. So how are we able to, just really walk around things like that, because you're going to end up doing lots of businesses with lots of people. So like more of, you know, having that contract in place or whatever. So I just wanted to know like more about.
That would be the point. You have a contract that both you and the client have agreed on the terms, and you have a witness watching, and everybody signs it, both of you and the witness, so that you know. And like I said, if she's taking property or fixing property, even on site, take pictures of it from all angles so that you know exactly what shape it's in, and agree on what you're going to be doing with it, so that they can't say, oh, well, they switched this. Well, no, they didn't. Here's the picture showing that that was what it looked like. And we have our witness that signed it with us. We both agreed that this was the condition it was in, and this was what we wanted done. So anything you can do like that to have on file and show if you ever had to go to court or whatnot, anything you can do additional to protect yourself additionally.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks.
Derek?
Hello, hello. Not sure if this was answered or whether there is an answer to this, but I will, I guess, ask it anyway. In a situation like this, like, is there anything that when you could have been, I guess, legally like liable for or something? I don't know if that's the right term for it, but say that, stuff hit the fan, so to say. Or is there liabilities there? Do you know, or is that just kind of another avenue you don't know until like it's crossed? Again, I hope that makes sense, but I'm just kind of I'm thinking legally and like liability stuff here. So hopefully that makes sense.
They would have to take her to court. And depending on the price of the object, it would be small claims, but they could.
John?
Okay.
You're
Okay, yeah,
asking
that
me?
makes sense.
Oh. Anything to add?
Yeah, small claims. Really, Lynn, you were through the whole transaction, you were, in my opinion anyway, you were in legal jeopardy. So you're just lucky that nothing happened. The potential was certainly there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're out of time. So we're gonna go back to our Toastmasters.